Welcome everybody to our normal Zoom call. We basically have this Zoom meeting running like 24/7. So what are we talking about today, Tracy?
We will be discussing how our team is working during the shelter in place, what capabilities we have, and what we are doing to prepare for the near future, and just what we're doing daily to keep things moving along.
Love it.
First, we'd like to get in touch with Lauren and talk a little bit about our team's productivity and how we are conducting business.
So we basically have our Zoom open so that we can communicate throughout the day, kind of like in the working environment in the office. We also have our Slack, which is our instant messaging where we can share documents, images.
We also have phones and email.
Phones, yes, and email.
Yeah, what's really cool, we use a phone service that allows us to basically have our office phones connect to our cell phones. So like I can punch in an extension here. Let's just give this a try.
Oh boy.
I'm gonna call one of you at random and we'll see whose phone rings. I'm just punching in an extension. So I hear it ringing in the office.
Me!
It works. Yeah, so that's really nice too, because when we went virtual, we could keep doing that. And then also, Lauren, maybe you want to touch just on how we're sharing files. Like you mentioned Slack, but that's not the main file sharing system.
We're also using an online server where we can upload and download files, and anytime that we edit them, we just re-upload the new file and replace the old one.
And for some select few, we actually have it where your desktops actually synchronize the files live. You don't have to upload and download, but that has been a little spotty on its performance.
Yeah.
Not always reliable. So great. What's next, Tracy? This is exciting. I'm really engaged in this video right now. Like if I had to go do something else like eat or go to the bathroom, I'd be postponing that to find out what's happening next. Pins and needles.
Lauren touched base a little bit on communicating. So I'd like to touch base on how we're communicating with our clients. What's the best efficient way? What has been working for us?
Yeah, are we talking with our clients still? I thought we were shut down.
No, we are still 100% in business and still conducting business as usual. We're calling our clients, emailing our clients. We've also set up Zoom meetings with some of our clients just so that we can touch base on where their projects are, share each other's screen, and just really be able to conduct business as usual, like they were coming into the office to review plans. So it's really cool, but mainly emails and calls. I think calls have been a little bit harder, but nothing has really changed for us, even though we're working from home.
Yeah, maybe Rachel can talk a little bit about how we're reviewing plans and designs with our clients too, because that's shifted. We used to have people come in all the time and sit down and walk through plan sets. So what tools are available for us now so they can get an experience of their design?
So we set up a Zoom conference call with them so we can share our screens and kind of walk through the designs just like we would in person. We're able to highlight different areas, even just sending them a PDF and kind of doing written notes on what's going on and what for them to look at. We have a new rendering program that we've been using, and it's really easy to just drop in materials and give our clients kind of a lifelike snippet of what their house looks like. So I've been using that a lot just to give clients a better visualization of what is going on with their design.
Yeah, and just to clarify, it's not really easy. It's very time intensive. Dropping in materials is easy, but one of the cool things we can do too is we can give them videos and walkthroughs of the building and spin it around, and that way they can watch it and rewind it and fast forward it. One thing we haven't been able to do is the virtual reality walkthroughs with our clients since the shutdowns happened, and looking forward to doing that in the future. If one of our clients does have a supported virtual reality headset, we can actually export a virtual reality model for them so they can walk through it. But not many of our clients have those systems yet. But if one of your kids got it for Christmas and you want to do a virtual reality walkthrough of your property, we can set that up too. You can do it in your own house.
Until then, we're just sending little teaser videos of kind of what to expect for the VR.
Back to you, Ms. Tracy.
Can one of the project managers touch base on what projects we're currently working on?
We're working on all of our projects that are in progress, but you know, we have actually a lot of different departments. So we have industrial, which is more storage facilities, and we have a handful of those going right now. So those are in permit process or planning application entitlement stage. And then we also have a handful of them in construction. So they're still moving. They're probably a little slower in moving forward, but it's still in progress and workers are out there and we're getting updates from our consultants and our owners and our clients. Then we also have a lot of residential new construction, also additions, remodels that are being worked on. There's a few developments that we are working on right now that are continuously evolving. Designs are being sent out and sent back for red lines and corrections. And, you know, it's key for us to keep our communication open. It's a culture shock and culture change for everyone, you know, during this shelter in place. So we're trying to make it as normal as possible and connecting with our handful of clients that have multiple projects and making sure that their full scale review is throughout the entire process has been really nice. Those weekly meetings with certain clients and, you know, those summary emails have been very successful during this time. And then we also have a couple of restaurants and breweries in progress. A few are still in construction. They were supposed to open this past month, but you know, with these delays, it's still in construction and how they're available to open to the public. So a few of them are actually brewing and they're selling their, you know, their bottled beers on curbside pickup. So you can do that as well. And they're trying to get around this whole shelter in place so that they can, one, have an outstanding voice in the community, but also so that they can once they do open their doors, they can have more people come and have more clients and more customers. So we have a lot of different stuff going on and it's really exciting because it hasn't really slowed down for us and we're really optimistic about where our projects are currently and what we're going to be taking on in the near future. So
yeah, and Carter, last night we did something which was a first for us. Maybe you want to share about what happened last night.
Sure. Yeah. So it was the first for a jurisdiction to do a Zoom planning commission hearing, and it was just like this. Everybody was in their homes, in their PJs, and these are planning commissioners making decisions. And I thought that was pretty crazy. I thought, you know, they were just hearing them walk through processes and making decisions from their own home was pretty interesting. And it was them adapting to the situation and still making things happen for projects, which I found awesome.
Yeah, and it was a really interesting process because we still had all the same Robert's rules. They still did the Pledge of Allegiance.
Yeah.
And they put a PowerPoint with the American flag on the screen, and we all stood up in our houses and did the Pledge of Allegiance. And there was community feedback, and you know, I presented as the owner's representative, and we got our approvals, which was fantastic. So yeah, that was interesting.
I think they streamed it on YouTube as well, just so that the public had access.
Right. Yeah, and then they were accepting. I think the public could have come into the Zoom call to present if they wanted to or make comments, and they were also checking. They had email that they were checking throughout the meeting for community feedback as well.
Yeah, it seemed like they adapted pretty quickly for this situation.
Yeah, and this was a small town here locally too. It wasn't one of the bigger cities. City of Rockland, they've canceled all planning commission hearings for April. We'll see what they do in May. I haven't received any notifications yet. As everyone here in this room knows, I'm on the Planning Commission for Rockland, but those watching might not know that. So I've had a month off. So we'll see what happens in May.
So with the shelter-in-place restrictions and all the online tools and programs that we're using, is there anything we're not capable of doing? What are we still able to do while working from home?
Tracy, working normally. There's nothing really being affected by it, by the shelter in place. Again, we're up and running. We have numerous projects that we're all continuously working on. Zoom helps with being able to communicate with our coworkers and stuff. So the team is still tied together, just virtually, but it's not affecting it too much. If we have questions, we'll jump on a call. We're still able to contact cities or counties for various questions, planning, building. So it's still moving along. We're very busy at the moment, which is good. We don't see any purpose of slowing down for any reason. So the shelter in place isn't. We have a lot of departments still moving forward with accepting plans, reviewing plans and whatnot. So commercial, residential projects are still up and running, which is very good for us. So
how has the shelter-in-place affected counties? You kind of touched base. Departments are still moving along. Can we still submit? Are we submitting? What is that looking like?
There's some counties who take a little while to respond. I called a few counties recently, and then they were saying that some of their employees are not working every day. So if you want to talk to, for instance, the department head, they only work a handful of days out of the week. So if you want to talk to that specific, representative, you have to wait until they're working. Let's just say they're working Monday, Wednesday, Friday, versus the rest of the week. So that's like really the only, I wouldn't say a challenge, but it is causing some small hiccups in being able to speak with the representatives. But if that representative is not available, you can always speak with someone else who, you just got to give them a little small explanation about the project, and they pretty much know what you're talking about. So it's not slowing too much. I mean, it's slowing down a little bit in terms of, communication wise, but as far as moving forward, it's no problem with that. I mean, emails, you can, obviously still email them. A lot of the phones that when you contact the jurisdictions, they're either, some are in the office, some are, to be honest, working from their homes as well. So it could cause some delays, but we haven't had very large ones recently, so we're still good.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I think one thing that really stopped right when the first shelter-in-place orders started to roll out, all building inspections stopped temporarily there, and we didn't think those were going to happen again until it all got lifted. But building departments and county health departments as well have started inspections again. So we've, as I think Jenna mentioned, we have a handful of projects that were stopped, and now things are starting to pick up again. We have several construction projects that are in process, and they're trying to practice good social distancing policy, but they are also still able to have inspections. So I think one of the things that changed is, some of our project sites, I was going out once a week to observe construction. Now that's been reduced to a once a week call with the contractor, and then maybe a once a month, visit. Over the last month, I've gone out maybe once. So that's been one change, where just that in-person on the job site has decreased quite a bit. And then the building inspectors are going out again, so that's good. We just had a health inspection on a restaurant project actually just like 2-3 days ago. We had a health inspection, and so that's good news, for our projects that are under construction.
So I guess, Jenna, are we still submitting? Can we submit? What is that process looking like? I know they're available. Some counties and jurisdictions are still open, and some are just a little bit harder to get in touch with. So how are we working that out?
So we are contacting the local jurisdiction and contacting whoever's the closest to that project type. So it could be a plan reviewer or a planner on staff. And honestly, I've actually had, and I think Tracy could agree to this, that email has been really successful with the shelter-in-place methods to talk to any jurisdiction, because they are sitting at home as well, and they also have access to their email. So by phone has been a lot harder, and maybe there's a larger delay on getting any response back, but via email has been really responsive and helpful, and they've been able to respond a lot quicker than standard times. As far as submitting, every jurisdiction is different. You know, we have like Los Altos, they aren't accepting any new applications, new permits, or new planning applications either. They've just stopped all production, while Placer County is accepting like a health submittal via email. So it really depends on what project type you have, and also what connections that we do have with those jurisdictions, because we can really help along that process. I think we've submitted quite a handful of projects over the past 4 weeks, and there might be a slight delay on the upfront part of it where they're taking in the application and processing and everything, but all in all, they're trying to be as efficient as they can with the limited resources that they have. And then there also was a jurisdiction, it was a small town that you were able to print your plans and drop it off at a cart. And it was literally a cart that was just sitting outside. Rachel was the one that was able to go deliver that. And she thought it was the funniest thing ever. So we put it on Slack, and we were all thinking like, yeah, it's sitting here right here. And you just leave your plans like it's nothing. And we think our plans are very valuable. So that's probably why it was really more of a shock. But yeah, we work with every project differently. Every project has its own process, but as far as working with those jurisdictions, we keep that connection really strong, and our emailing has been nonstop. I think we all are getting a little carpal tunnel because we're like, you know, typing a lot in response, and making sure that those are responded to in a timely manner so that there's less delay. So
I think one interesting thing
overall
too,
successful.
yeah, jurisdictions who had already put in place electronic submittals prior to the shutdown, it was seamless for them to transition. You know, the ones that Jenna was referring to, where it's been a bit more unpredictable, or emailing things, those are departments or jurisdictions that didn't have an electronic submittal process prior to this, and so they've had to get creative, because those don't just happen overnight. You know, there's a lot of infrastructure that's to be put into place. So some of them are doing baskets, some are doing email, some are just shutting down. But there's, you know, a lot of the major jurisdictions. We submitted, you know, San Jose, Sacramento, Sac County. You know, they already had, you know, Contra Costa County. They already have digital submittal processes in place, and so it was, you know, basically no change.
How are we, you know, how are we taking on new clients? Are we still getting calls? What's that looking like, Lauren?
We are still getting calls. A lot of calls are coming in about ADUs right now, because people are using this time to kind of think about earning, you know, income, a side income through an additional property on their home property. So we're getting a lot of calls about ADUs. We did start a couple commercial projects, some residential projects. So we're still getting things up and going, still going through the client onboarding process.
We're very strict about new clients doing what we call our needs and options review, and that's where we come out to your site and we meet with you and we walk through the project and the process, and we generate a report for you before we even start designing on what are your opportunities and your needs, and create project timelines and budgets. And so that's been a little interesting. We have a you know, a needs and options review that we hopefully are starting soon, and we'll probably have to do that initial interview virtually. Maybe have the owner walk through the building for us. So that's changed a little bit, but yeah, if anybody has a project, give us a call. We're still taking on new ones.
Last question that I have is just, what do we anticipate in the next upcoming weeks, and what are we doing?
Yeah, so Natalie and Jen and I, we've been doing a series interviewing different professionals as we've kind of started this whole shelter in place. We've had a financial advisor, we've had a realtor, we've had, who else? Oh, and another architect, Peter Tui from the East Coast. and talking about just some of the opportunities and unintended, really kind of unintentional benefits that have come out of this whole pandemic. I think, you know, looking at where we've been over the last month, I think things are going to go one of two ways. Because right now we're seeing we have successfully flattened the curve in most of the country, and there's a lot of talk about starting to relax some of the restrictions. You know, thankfully, we haven't seen our hospitals overloaded. We haven't seen people dying for lack of care, which is, I think, what one of the really big fears was at the start of this. And so that's excellent. You know, good job for all of you guys being at home and doing your part. So as we start to relax that and loosen that up, you know, it's going to be interesting to see what businesses can come back, what sectors are going to be permanently repressed or, you know, have a longer recovery. I think as far as like our residential construction, you know, Lauren was mentioning about the accessory dwelling units. I think that's a huge thing that's going to just keep growing. We've already seen, if you haven't watched it already, we did a series of videos, and there's some more coming out, right, Natalie, about ADUs? I think there's I know we have some in the works as far as on the script writing side, and I think there's one that was done, but we hadn't posted yet.
Yeah, so we've done a couple videos, one about the pricing and how to finance and the opportunities of making your money back and the laws. So our next video coming out will be like how to make your money back by adding an ADU to your property.
Oh yeah, the income side of it. Yeah, so if you haven't seen those videos, check those out. But there were some laws that happened in last year, 2019 in California, which have really opened up the doors for people who own homes, own residences, to add additional units. If you do it right, you can have up to 3 units on your property. You can have a main house, an ADU, and a junior ADU. So I think we're just starting to see the surface of that as people start to be educated and informed about what the options are for their properties. And I was on the call yesterday with a very large developer and builder in the San Francisco Bay Area who's gearing up to help Mark Zuckerberg and his wife. They've started I'm not sure if it's a foundation, a charity, some program where they're trying to supplement and get, what's that?
An initiative.
An initiative, yeah.
The Zuckerberg Chan initiative.
Perfect. Yeah, Rachel is more up to speed on this than me, but they're investing in homeowners in the Bay Area, giving grants and different economic help, so that way homeowners can build accessory dwelling units. So I think that's going to be a thing we're going to see taking off. Like Jenna said, it's a relatively low cost real estate investment that people can make with really high returns. And then on the custom home side, I think coming out of this, you know, a lot of people have spent way more time in their houses than they have in a long time. I think there's a lot of people that are kind of recognizing those things. And so looking to the future, I think over the next few months in this year, I think we're going to see a lot more home remodels. And also, I think people are going to be starting to think about moving as well. I was just talking to somebody the other day that they thought they were living in their forever home that they were going to retire in, and now that they spent so much time there, they realized probably should move. So, in fact, I need to touch base with you, Tracy, because we need to get them some information on what next steps are. But I think, you know, we love to do new houses. We have a lot of fun doing those. But I think we're also going to be seeing a lot more remodels. And those actually tend to be, on the design side, can be a lot more challenging, but can make a huge difference. Resale, livability, especially if you like where you live. You know, if you like your neighborhood, you like your neighbors, a lot of times remodeling is the right move. And then looking at our other work that we do, like commercial tenant improvements and some of the retail work, you know, we'll kind of see how that goes. A lot of our retail work tends to be you know, dentists and doctors, and they've really been hit the last month. We started this year really strong. We've had a really slow month, we're busy, but just new project starts. I think we're going to finish this year really strong too, but we'll see again, as everybody starts to go back to work, we'll kind of see some of these sectors ebbing and flowing probably for the rest of the year. But I don't have
like to chime in. So yeah, there is a benefit with this pandemic. I mean, like, it's sad to say, but most cities now have to adapt to being online or online submittals. if they haven't caught on already, this is telling them that they have to have some kind of process in case this does happen again. And in general, it's good for everyone. Everybody was shifting towards there. It's just expedited the process.
Yeah, and we've seen, I mean, paper submittals use a lot of trees. Electronic submittals save a ton of trees, and the whole process can be handled a lot faster. So yeah, that's a good point. So, well, thanks everybody for joining us. We've talked a lot about needs and options reviews, and we do those for all types of projects. We recently completed one for a very large office tenant improvement in the Bay Area. And, you know, when you're looking to do a project, if it's a small project or a big project, having a clear roadmap of what you want to do before you start can save you a lot of time and a lot of money. So we highly recommend that. We've also touched on virtual reality. Like I said, if you have a virtual reality headset, we can still give that experience to you. Otherwise, once we open our doors, we'd love to have you come in and be able to travel to the future and walk through your project. If you want to learn more about accessory dwelling units or what we do here, there's a lot of videos on our domum.tv, which currently links to YouTube, but you can catch us on Vimeo. We're on Instagram, we're on Facebook, we're on Roku. We have our own channel on Roku. You can look for Domum. We're on Twitter, and domum.design is our website. Okay, with that, this is Team Domum. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you.